How's it going, Reef Keepers? Hope you guys have been doing well. I know that my content level has really dropped off the last couple weeks, partially because I was traveling, partially because there is really so much going on for me professionally that I did not expect. This semester has started off in a much more difficult way just because of the crop of students that I have than I thought. So it's been way more of a challenge than I anticipated to get content out. And also, I have made some pretty significant changes, I guess small to medium changes, but all of them taken together, pretty big changes to my reef system. And because I'm spending more time implementing these changes and keeping track of how they're impacting things and stressing about that, I feel more exhausted because all this coalesces together, and I'm just like, when it comes to making content, I'm like tapped. So I kind of apologize. I mean, it just is what it is, but I kind of feel bad. And anyway, I do have something pretty exciting to show you. I have a major new piece of gear on the system. Now, I want to say, before I show it to you, I understand you don't have to tell me that this piece of gear is probably too large for my system. However, don't worry. I've consulted many people on it, people who own versions of this product, and I have carefully implemented and dialed it in so that I'm not going to harm my system or strip my system. You don't have to worry about it. I know there's a lot of people who are quick to correct and quick to rush out and be like, you made a mistake. It's been going for a few days and everything has been fine and I've got it under control. So here is the new piece of gear, which now takes up a significant portion of my sump. So this skimmer is a Ultra Reef Akula or Akula, I'm not sure how to say that. It's a UKS-180 version. So, zoom in on that for you. This thing, I gotta say, I looked at the dimensions, I knew it was gonna be big, and I got it, and I still couldn't quite believe truly how big this thing was. And I don't mean just size big. I mean, like, I couldn't believe how overbuilt this thing is. So the story about why suddenly, not having spoken a whole lot about my desire to get a new skimmer, why I suddenly pulled the trigger is because my old skimmer, let me reach over and get it. My old skimmer is this guy. You can see the difference. Huge difference. This Bubble Magus Curve 5, which is just like the base entry level, it didn't have the C-J pump upgrade or anything like that. It was just, like a cheap Chinese pump and just a regular old Bubble Magus Curve 5. It had served me so well and been such a steadfast thing. It did require a lot of cleaning. I had to clean this thing like every 3 months, like clockwork, for it to work properly. I really didn't enjoy that. I do like militant maintenance on my tank as it is, and I really wasn't enjoying like having to pull the whole skimmer out, scrub down every inch of it, clean out the pump, and then put it all back together, put it back in there every 3 months. That sucked. So I wanted something that was going to be more powerful, more stable, have like some higher tolerances, and just require like, maintenance maybe a couple times a year as opposed to, 4, maybe 5 times a year. And so I started doing research. I did a ton of research before I pulled the trigger on this. And this is an interesting skimmer, I think, from what I can tell, for an American reef keeper to have, because it's made in Italy, and they don't seem, altogether uncommon among European reefers, but there's still a shockingly few videos documenting their use even among European YouTubers, right? Like a few, videos in different languages and stuff. But Jake Adams, a few years back, when this model came out, he reviewed they make changes to it over time. So his looks slightly different, but it's the UKS-180, and he reviewed it, and he basically in his review was like, this thing's like one of the most overbuilt skimmers I've ever used in my life for the price. And it's like outrageous. Like, he called it a work of art. He's like, every piece of it is so well thought through. And what I kind of like about it is that there's nothing like outrageously fancy about it. So like, it's got a custom Seche pump, but it's a just regular AC pump. It just runs on constant, and it relies on like over machining of everything, super excellent tolerances all over the place, super thick materials that they use. So like, I'll give you an example. Let's see. So just the lid on this thing, like, look at the thickness of just the lid. By the way, look at that thing just pulling. And I got it skimming very dry so that I don't strip all the nutrients out of my system. But like, you know, you can hear it when it goes down. It's just like thud. Take a look at like the air intake. Like, look at even the threading. I don't think it's gonna, oh, there it goes. Even the threading is like so fine, but at the same time, everything's so large that like, even the threading on this stuff can be like really intensive. Like, I'm not worried about like cranking something on there the wrong way and like, you know, ruining the threading or anything like that. The dials and everything are super overbuilt. I mean, I guess I haven't ever seen in a skimmer, because I have never owned like an expensive skimmer, I never understood the difference in quality between this right here and this, right? Like, this is a fine skimmer. It worked fine for me. You're gonna have to take care of it really well to keep it operating optimally. But once I, you know, just touched this and pulled this out of the box, and then I came down and pulled out my old skimmer to prepare to put the new one in and cleaned it out and put it all back together, like, just how rickety and like, you know, thin the material feels compared to something like that. The difference is just astronomical. I know I'm kind of like, you know, going slowly through this video and like being kind of in awe still, but I am still kind of in awe of just how intensely different this is from this. I mean, it's just wild. So for the record, I've got this thing jacked up too high because, like a true reef keeper, I got too excited and rushed into installing it and realized, oh, if I let it sit on the bottom, it's gonna be too deep. So I had to like find something to jack it up. I have a stand coming that's like a proper height. It should be like a couple inches lower, so I want to take care of that. It's jacked up way high right now. By the way, it has no problem operating where it's at, but I still want it a little bit lower so that I can like access my control boxes and stuff behind it. But I'll tell you one other great thing about it is that the bit where the air comes in, I always had problems on this skimmer with this getting buildup down inside of it from like calcification or salt crystals or whatever. Not only is this same piece on this much larger, so there's way more, you know, space for that kind of thing to occur without blocking the flow of air, but you can unscrew this piece and like totally take it apart to clean it. And I think I'm gonna actually, so this has been running for like, without me cleaning it for like the last 3 days, and that's the skim that it's pulled, which, keep in mind, I mean, I'll put my hand up to the cup. Like, here's my hand on the cup. So, I mean, it is a large skimmer cup, and that's more skim than it looks. And I'm running it dry, and it has pulled that much. I mean, it is serious. What I'm going to do is something I rarely do. I am going to pause this video, shoot a new video of me after I clean out that skimmer cup, so that I can show you a couple of the features about like how the cup is built and put together and how you can take it apart and things like that. Just to give, you know, some more overview on this Ultra Reef skimmer, because there's so little out there on it. I want to show more of the features than just like sitting here and you know, hey, look at it, you know, it's really good, trust me. I want to take some things apart and show you some of the interesting features that, like, to my knowledge, I guess they're interesting. Some other people who have like overbuilt skimmers might be like, yeah, you know, it's not that interesting. But yeah, I'll pause it here, I'll clean that out, and then we'll take a look. Okay, I'm back after cleaning that out. So take a look real quick while the skimmer cup is off, and there's no bubbles going up the column here. You can see that like the plate in this thing is absolutely unbelievable. And I wish I knew all the little terms of the parts of a skimmer. I'm not on that level with skimmer knowledge yet. I'm trying to learn about it, but I mean, this thing, like, you can see the seam on this. So you can unscrew it and take it out to clean it and everything. That's the other impressive thing about this skimmer, is that literally every little part can just be unscrewed on this like super heavy duty, super precise threading, and completely broken down. And it can be done so very easily because it's so overbuilt and all these pieces are so big. You know, if you know anything about, you know, cleaning a skimmer like this, it's that while most parts do technically come apart, it's so small and fiddly that you're, you know, having to almost like hurt your fingers, like getting stuff apart, or like take a pliers and, you know, get things loose. And it's a train wreck. It's so hard to get those things apart and then get them back together again after you're tired from scrubbing everything down. Just, so that's what I'm most excited about with this. And before I did anything with it, I took the whole thing apart and then very slowly put all of it, I sat with it for like 90 minutes and took it all apart and looked at the manual and like learned all the pieces of it and how they fit together, put it all back together, figured out all the operation of it. I will mention something else, the tuning. So like right here is the water outlet. You can see the grill, and it's got several, you know, like several slots that go around, that wrap around that column. The tuning of it is very, very precise. So you just move this piece here back or forth, depending on how much water you want to let out. It is, and that adjusts the level of the skimmer, of course, of the foam. That is the most precise tuning that I have ever witnessed on a skimmer that I've had, which again, my experience is not that deep, but to me, it's tremendous. I mean, I can get that foam level exactly where I want it, which is really nice. I'll mention something else. So the reason I got this skimmer, it would have been just outside my price range of what I was willing to pay. However, this was on sale. I think I got this at Aquarium Specialty. I think they are the Ultra Reef shop in America. I got it from them, and by the way, good shipping, good, you know, customer service from what I could tell. I asked about my shipment and they got back to me, so that was good. I got it on sale for like $175 off or something like that, $160 or something, because Ultra Reef has upgraded from this custom Seche AC pump to a DC pump that has a little control box on it. So the price of the units went up accordingly, unless they just dropped the price of this, which I guess is possible. But basically, this is like the old model. But because I'm coming from a skimmer that also has just a regular AC pump that's just going to go at one speed and you adjust it from there, I was very comfortable with it. So I was like, all right, you know, this is in my wheelhouse. Like, that's, you know, for my first big skimmer upgrade, I would prefer it be not a major departure where I have to like adjust speed on a pump or whatnot and worry about that. Like, I just want it to basically do the same thing, just way better. and that's exactly what I got, which is awesome. So let's take a look at the skimmer cup. I just washed it all out. So again, the lid, I wish that there was some way I could convey just how heavy duty this lid is. It is stunning to me how heavy duty that thing is compared to what I am used to. And again, you can see like the skimmer cup, like that takes my whole hand to pick that thing up, and it is weighty as well. It is no slouch on weight. Acrylic, totally overbuilt, super thick. This is the coolest part. So you guys will know, I'm sure, the difficulty in, I'm just gonna call this the stem. I don't know what it's really called, but like this stem piece here in the middle, when that doesn't come out, you can see the buildup. I mean, I scrubbed this out with a scrub brush, and it's still retained, you know, some of the gunk around the interior there because you can't really get at it. Check this out. Boom. So I loosened that, by the way, before I brought it out. This thing sits really firmly down in there. So this stem piece just comes free for cleaning. And you can see, so I don't know the difference between these kind of components. I'm always honest with you guys when I just don't know. I think Jake Adams called this a gasket style. Like, you know, I don't know, way to fix these pieces in place. So that gasket style not only appears there, but also appears, right here, and settles itself down into this groove that runs around the top right there. It is super easy. I don't know how this is achieved with this gasket style system. It's super easy to remove the actual skimmer cup off of it. Like, it doesn't move the whole skimmer and get it shifted out of position on whatever you have it on. It's very easy to pull it off. However, it still somehow feels like it's not just gonna fall off. Like, it's on there well enough that like I'm not worried about bumping it and the skimmer cup going flying. So that's cool, I guess. Like, you know, on here, on this one, this was much more difficult. See how it kind of shook as I did that? I don't know what the difference is there, but this is, it's hard to get it back down in there too. That was a much more difficult situation. With this, I can almost just wiggle it a little and then lift it right out. So it's worth mentioning. Overall, guys, I am extremely impressed with this system. Like, extremely. It's quiet, by the way. The sound that you hear from it is just the sound of bubbles popping, which I'm also not entirely sure how that's possible because it's an AC pump. So I thought it would be at least as loud as this. It's quieter than that. So maybe the overbuilt nature of it like stabilizes the pump or something. It's got big heavy duty titanium screws holding it together. It has, in case you can just submerge it at whatever level you want, big overbuilt rubber bumps on the bottom to absorb vibration. It's just, I don't know. I'm just totally happy with it. It is exactly what I thought it would be in terms of, like, I'm used to it. I'm familiar with how this system works because it's built like a simple skimmer. It's just so overbuilt is what I'm getting at. Like, because everything is so well done, so well machined, so overbuilt, so heavy, like weight heavy and heavy duty, everything just works significantly better and easier, and I have a lot more confidence in it than I did in the old skimmer and this Bubble Magus, despite the fact that this old girl did me well for a long time. I'm not looking to go back. I love this thing. I absolutely love it. So I'm sure that I'll put out more content on it. This is just my like initial review. I've had it running for like a week or whatever. Phosphate level, I've actually been able to turn down my reactor and slow it down because, and it's not stripping the phosphate or anything. As long as I run it dry, you know, it's not ripping a bunch of nutrients out and making me worry. My phosphate's hovering. I just did phosphate. I'm going to do nitrate this afternoon, but phosphate's hovering around 0.10 and has been for several days, running this dry and running my reactor behind it at a nice slow pace. So yeah, when I get the stand for it, I'll probably do a little video on the stand to kind of show you guys the difference in positioning and everything. And I'll try to stay on top of getting some more content out to you guys. But yeah, Ultra Reef Akula 180 skimmer, pretty awesome. And I assume that if having adjustable DC pumps on skimmers is a thing for you, which most people seem to want that rather than an AC pump on a skimmer, then I'm sure that you'll like the new version that they've just put out even better than this. But this is my comfort zone, and I'm thrilled. So, all right, guys. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week and weekend. Take it easy.